All right, everybody. I don't have much time to do this, so I'm gonna make this quick. I'm gonna read through this for you, and I want you to decide: is this stimulus check legit, or is it? You see, when they say like be careful of stimulus check scams, they're already admitting to scamming you. Okay, the scam is the check itself, because this shit is not. It's a scam. It's a scam. And we're gonna go ahead and go through this article that's been recommended, and you'll be able to as soon as you start to see the patterns here, you start to understand why it's a scam. When you if you see this, please share this around so people know the bullshit of what's going on. Anyway, hi, welcome to Big, a newsletter about the politics of monopoly. If you like to sign up, you can do so here or just read on. On Saturday, I sent out a note on the awful no good bailout bill in negotiations. I asked you to forward my newsletter, repost it, and make some noise. You did, and we managed to delay the bill's passage. Today, I am going to write about where we are now. Since Saturday, I have seen an emerging right-left argument about what we need to do to address the pandemic. The American Economy Liberties Project, my org, put out a statement against the bill. AFL/CIO official domain Silvers, who oversaw the 2008 bailout, put out an article against the bill, as did dozens of economics and finance professors. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez warned of the risk of a bill tilted to big businesses, as did Libertarian member Justin Amash. John Cassidy wrote in the New Yorker how to do a bailout without corruption. And Georgetown law professor Ann Levitin pointed out that the bills is robbing taxpayers to bail out the rich. That's what it's doing if you didn't know. But then these two senators, Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell, cut a deal last night, and from what I can tell, it's really, really bad, and much of the bad stuff is not being included in the sleazy marketing materials from Schumer and McConnell, or in the reporting about the bill. There's a reason for that. Sunlight would kill this thing. That means there is a narrow way to stop it. What is in the bill? What is in this bill? Congress is going to pass a bill with a lot of important stuff for workers, hospitals, cities, and small businesses to address the pandemic that's inevitable. And the bill on the table includes some of this. The bill questions, though, is what else the bill includes. And that's where we get into trouble. Because while we have to deal with the pandemic and crisis, we do have a fundamentally eliminate the economic rights of all of us in the process. Now, first, I should say I don't have the final deal in hand because it's not public. I have only seen variations of the negotiated text, but I'm fairly sure most of these provisions haven't changed because the final sticking points were over various direct pandemic speeding pieces. If I get that wrong, I'll tell you in an update. On Saturday, I went over the Christmas wish list of corporate lobbyists in this process. Everything from Adidas. Before I continue, did you know that the people in Congress were actually trying to give themselves a fucking raise in their paychecks? Yeah, I'm not over this bullshit. Yeah, I'm not bullshitting about that. They did. They did. People are still speaking out about that. This may have something to do with that. It was a pay raise they were trying to do. But anyway, let's continue. On Saturday, I went over the Christmas wish list of corporate lobbyists in this process. Everything from Adidas letting people deduct gym costs to candy makers seeking a $500 million loan to Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk seeking $5 billion in loans for their space corporations. Of course, what Wall Street saw it and got dwarfed all of these requests. Here's how you can tell. A lot of reporters have been talking about how this is a $2 trillion deal with a bunch of spending for hospitals and whatnot. But last night, White House advisor Larry Kudlow announced it's actually a $6 trillion deal, and business reporter Charlie Gasparino said he's hearing chatter that the total will be 10 trillion. Say what? I hear it's 10 trillion or higher when all this said and done. There's the article that was presented from Gasparino. Manstollar, people are not initializing what is happening. A $6 trillion credit allocation to Wall Street isn't a corporate handout, it's a coup. These numbers are a thorough restructuring of America, and there's the link if you ever want to check it out for yourself. How does this work? How can Wall Street have one impression of the amount of money and everyone else have a different impression? Easy. Confusion, lying, and bad reporting. If important people don't talk about the boring sounding big stuff, then us non important people sound crazy or nerdy mentioning it. It's a giant game of social climbing, and the goal is to make all of us afraid to point out what's going on. Incidentally, I hope Representative Brett Sherman, who is an accountant and a key anti bailout leader, really delves into this. So let's talk about the big stuff that McConnell, Schumer, and Pelosi are hiding. The bill establishes a series of boring sounding slush funds, and these will be given strange alphabet soup names by the Federal Reserve and Treasury names like Special Purpose Vehicle and ABS, TALF, and FDIC bank guarantees. That's where the real money is. Here are some of these slush funds, starting with the ones that are more understandable. 50 billion in loans and loan guarantees to airlines, 8 billion in loans to guarantees to air cargo carriers, 17 billion in loans to guarantee to business crucial to national security. A 425 billion fund for loans and investments to be used at the discretion of the Secretary of the Treasury, Steve Mnuchin, who can use it to loan money, buy stock, buy bonds, whatever. Obviously, helping certain enterprises is important, as I am not opposed to industry aid, but the terms and conditions matter, and basis on what I am seeing, I don't believe there will be meaningful restrictions to this aid. Executive financials are going to profit off of taxpayer money. So that's the stuff that's been reported. Here's what hasn't, and why the bill goes up in a value from 6 to 10 trillion. In addition, 4 trillion from the Federal Reserve and lending power to be lent to big corporations and banks. Authorization to bail out money market funds, multi-trillion-dollar unregulated bank-like deposits for the super rich. Authorizations, and remember how the Illuminati actually is involved in the banks? Yeah, I wouldn't bullshit about that. They are. Authorization for the government through the federal, or should I say the shadow government, basically. Yeah, I guess that's a proper term for it. Authorization for the government through the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation to guarantee trillions of dollars of risk bank debt. There's more. This is a long bill, but to give you one simple data point, here's what happened to Citibank's bonds over the last few days. That big spike shows the bonds getting much riskier, and the collapse shows the results of Wall Street being convinced this bill will pass and the bonds will be guaranteed by the government. Hedge fund guys knew this would happen and speculated around this move before it did, front running the Fed for easy. I'm telling you, that fucking stock market is gonna freaking plummet far more than it ever had. People, you definitely want to stock up. You definitely want to prepare, because shit is going to get real. Far more real than it ever was before later on. That's where the problem is set right now, and what they're trying to keep people distracted from. Because it's not so much as just the 5G being the problem. It's the fact that they've gone over to something else that they don't want you looking at. The big spike shows that the bonds getting much riskier, and the collapse shows the results of Wall Street being convinced this bill will pass and the bonds will be guaranteed by the government. Hedge fund guys knew this move would happen and speculated around this move before it did. Front running the Fed for easy profits wasn't even hidden. David Tepper, among other money managers, was on CNBC talking about how he's investing in bank debt. While there isn't a direct statement, we are handing a gift out to XYZ. Legislative graph doesn't work that way. The bill's authorization to restructure the economy according to the preferences of a very small group of people. Or to make it simpler, here's what happened to Boeing's stock price yesterday. Holy crap. So from that's a wow, unbelievable. Now, again, Boeing is an important enterprise, and we should save it. Here's a plan to do just that. And if you're interested in a web event tomorrow to discuss how to do so, but saving Boeing is different from saving Boeing's shareholders and CEO. Guess which one this bill does? The marketing pitch from Chuck Schumer on why a Wall Street bailout isn't that bad is their disclosure, some oversight, and reporting requirements, aside from the fact that none of these worked in the first set of the bailouts. This stuff probably only applies to one slush fund in the bill. More to point, financiers are already stealing, as I showed with the Citibank bond spreads. It's hard to convey just how ugly this program is. Already, the Federal Reserve hired the largest asset manager in the world to run its multi-trillion-dollar bailout. The bailout is already privatized with a conflicted operator before it has even started. And remember, this bailout isn't necessary. Hospitals need money, patients need ventilators, and people need to pay rent. But Wall Street is going to be fine regardless. Temporary distressed positions number like 6 trillion or even 10 trillion of government-backed credit to Wall Street are so large they don't mean anything. Fortunately, a major firm with a big mergers and acquisitions practice put into context for us. This with a memo to clients about how to prepare for this moment. As a stock prices decrease in response to market uncertainty, directors of public companies should be prepared to respond to increasing levels of shareholder activism and unsolicited takeover efforts. As opportunist parties with strong balance sheets look to take advantage of companies in temporary distress positions. In other words, millions of small and medium-sized businesses are going to have no access to cash and revenue freezes because of the pandemic and economic restrictions. And while there are provisions in the bill to get these businesses money, the reality is that neither our government nor our banks have the operational competencies to write and direct checks quickly enough to avoid distress. Much of the cash out the door provisions for small businesses will actually be stolen by the payday lender style fintech operators authorized in the bill to make loans, a provision stuck in there by Senate Mark Warner. The cash freeze to small businesses is already causing a crisis. FTC Commissioner Rohit Chopra made these points on Tucker Carlson last night. First, he noted small business loans shark are crippling cash strapped companies with onerous contracts. Second, powerful corporations are using their position to cut off small businesses from supply chains. And third, corporate raiders are planning to buy up these businesses cheap. Corporate raiders and PE firms are already sharpening their knives, said one Goldman Sachs associate. And that's where the legislation comes in. Wall Street, with this bill, will now have 46T of government guaranteed low cost credit to go shopping for businesses in trouble. We could see the mother of all roll ups as small and medium sized businesses desperately try to get whatever they can from deep pocketed private equity. Investors and monopolists, if you're wondering basically what's going on here, they're using this shit to basically tip the payment balances to force people to have to sell their businesses. They're gonna buy it up and then they're gonna profit from it with taxpayer money. They put oversized amounts that wasn't even needed in there so that they can do this. Anyway, I would love to finish this article. I'll leave it here where it says moving forward because I got to get ready and get going to work. I'm going to leave a link in the description. Let me go ahead and copy that so you can just read the rest. Stay safe and stay strong and stay awake, everybody, because there's a lot of corruption out there and we gotta do our best to stop it.